Syrian airstrikes, artillery fire rock Eastern Ghouta despite ceasefire. CNN Eastern Ghouta endured the seventh consecutive day of relentless artillery fire and airstrikes from the Russian-backed Syrian regime Sunday, despite global condemnation and a United Nations ceasefire that was supposed to have been implemented without delay. "Nothing has changed," said Dr. Hamza Hassan from Garbin Hospital in the besieged Damascus suburb. "The airstrikes are continuing. The maternity hospital has just been hit in Sakba, the town in Eastern Ghouta, and is out of service," he told CNN on Sunday morning. Panos Mumses, the humanitarian coordinator for the area, told CNN, "We have reports at least 7 people were killed this morning after the UN Security Council adopted the resolution calling for a 30-day ceasefire in Syria on Saturday. For the first time in this latest offensive that began February 18, ground attacks were combined with aerial bombardment, pummeling the rebel-held enclave near the Syrian capital." The Syrian regime has said that it is targeting terrorists in Eastern Ghouta and that it would continue to pursue terrorist targets even with the ceasefire in place. "We practice a sovereign right of self-defense, and we will continue to fight terrorism wherever it is found on Syrian soil," Syrian UN Ambassador Bashar Jafri said according to Syrian state-run media Sana. Terrorist groups not included the UN ceasefire resolution, which passed unanimously on Saturday, noted that the cessation of hostilities shall not apply to military operations against the Islamic State, al-Nusra and other groups associated with them, or groups deemed terrorist organizations by the UN Security Council. Voices from Syria's Eastern Ghouta 133. The main rebel units actively holding territory in Eastern Ghouta are Islamist groups Jaish al-Islam and Falaq al-Rahman, who have taken part in peace negotiations in the past. According to activists, there are small pockets of Tahrir al-Sham, an al-Qaeda affiliate, still in the area. But the ceasefire had no specific beginning, only that it was to come into effect without delay. There was no deadline for setting the date for it to begin. And there was no detail on how the truce, once in effect, would be enforced. Both the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights and Sana reported that shells hit regime-controlled areas in Damascus on Saturday morning. Armed groups positioned in Eastern Ghouta on Saturday targeted with more than 55 mortar and rocket shells with sniper fire the residential neighborhoods in Damascus and its countryside, injuring a number of civilians and causing material damage, Sana said. Deeply skeptical. Speaking to reporters, Russia's ambassador to the UN, Vasily Nebenzia, said the process of forming the resolution was extensive and exhaustive in order to ensure that it was meaningful. "Because by decrees of the Security Council, you cannot install a ceasefire. A ceasefire is reached by a laborious and painstaking process on the ground," said Nebenzia. However, U.S. Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley refuted Nebenzia's claims. "In the 3 days it took us to adopt this resolution, how many mothers lost their kids to the bombing and shelling? How many more images did we need to see of fathers holding their dead children? All for nothing, because here we are voting for a ceasefire that could have saved lives days ago," said Haley in remarks made after the ceasefire resolution was adopted on Saturday. "Our goal with this resolution is clear. The Assad regime needs to stop its military activities around Eastern Ghouta, and for once, allow humanitarian access to all of those who need it," said Haley, adding that she was unconvinced the Syrian regime would honor the ceasefire. "We are deeply skeptical that the regime will comply. But we supported this resolution because we must demand nothing less. We owe this to the innocent people of Syria begging for help." U.S. Ambassador to the UN Nikki Haley speaks as Russia's ambassador to the UN Vasily Nebenzia listens after a Security Council vote during a United Nations Security Council meeting on a ceasefire in Syria February 24, 2018 in New York. In his remarks to the UN Security Council, Nebenzia compared the outcry from the international community over events in Eastern Ghouta to that surrounding the retaking of eastern Aleppo in December 2016. "We know that the humanitarian situation in Syria is dire and requires urgent measures to be taken," he said. However, we see perfectly that the propagandistic scenarios which are being unraveled around Eastern Ghouta are in line fully with the campaign, the vociferous campaign in late 2016 during the counter-terrorist operation to liberate eastern Aleppo. The airstrikes and artillery fire have concentrated on the outskirts of Eastern Ghouta, according to activists inside the city. More than 520 people have been killed and 2,500 wounded since the bombardment of Eastern Ghouta began on Sunday, February 18. CNN's Mohammed Tawfiq, Taylor Barnes, Kareem Kader, Bultwi Suzi, Olivia Keeley, Gwidir Bakrafi, Ghazi Barki, Ayad Pori, Larissa Haji Hosseini, Julia Jones, Sheena Mackenzie and Jennifer Hauser contributed to this report.